freaking out as the GOP opens 2022 with a torrent of new election integrity bills throughout the nation. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the latest coming from red state legislatures. We're going to see how this even involves the formation of election police forces, and stick with me to the very end of this video, where we're going to see an army of tens of thousands of patriots taking over precincts to enforce election integrity throughout the country. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Stevie with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your daily fake news antidote. As each and every day, I provide patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. If you're already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe. Before we begin, gang, this is going to be an absolutely amazing year. As you know, the 2022 midterms are right around the corner, and every one of you has an integral role in guaranteeing that this is going to be a red wave rising like we've never seen before. And so that's why this weekend on January 14th and 15th, I'll be holding a virtual event with patriots all over the world, and you're invited. Our Patriot Live events have brought thousands of patriots across the planet encouragement and action for taking back our countries, and this one will be even better. I'm outlining exactly what you need to do to get involved to make 2022 the best year yet. So click on that link in the description right now and get 50% off your registration. This offer is going to expire in literally hours, so don't wait. Click on that link right now to join me at Patriot Live virtually, no matter where you are, as together we prepare for 2022. It's going to be absolutely amazing. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. You know, I got to start off by saying I really do wonder how many of you know and appreciate just how absolutely panicked the left is today. You know, I read the left-wing websites so you don't have to, right? I suffer from my art. I read left-wing websites every single day. And the recurring refrain on all of them is an extremely palpable sense of panic. They realize the bell is tolling for them. A massive red wave is on the horizon that's going to wash away everything they've ever hoped for in their bizarre cultural Marxist fantasies. And here's an example of what I'm talking about in terms of this panic. The left is absolutely freaking out about the fact that Republican legislatures across the nation have kicked off 2022 with a massive election integrity blitz. Well, they of course call it voter suppression, but leftist news outlets recognize that while 19 states passed significant election integrity reforms over the course of 2021, a number prepared to pass even more election integrity measures over the next few months. For example, states like Georgia and Missouri are passing laws that will put into place even more strict voter ID requirements and radically reduce the amount of mail-in ballots that can even be applied for. And it's working. Rejections for mail-in ballot requests have jumped 400% over the last several months in Georgia alone. They've actually brought up the rejection rate to pre-2020 levels. Now, just so you know, the media relies very heavily on the tracking of voter integrity measures by what's called the Brennan Center for Justice. And the Brennan Center is a George Soros-funded far-left outlet that's absolutely freaking out over all of these election integrity laws being passed. They openly oppose voter ID, for example, even though the vast majority of the nation favors voter ID. But it's the Brennan Center that's been tracking with the more than 400 bills that have been introduced by Republican legislators that aim to guarantee greater election integrity. Even the New York Times is sounding the alarm that states like Florida and Tennessee are even now crafting bills that will inevitably become law and will put Republican legislatures fully in charge of directly overseeing elections. And as part of that, you have significant and sweeping changes going on right now as we speak in state legislatures in terms of changing or clarifying their constitutional standards for conducting elections. What we've got to understand is that state legislatures constitutionally have what's called plenary authority to determine how elections are conducted in terms of the time, place, and manner of the legislature's own choosing. But as we so rudely found out in November 2020, many of those states like Pennsylvania and Georgia had acquiesced that authority, and they farmed it out. They sublet it to various state agents like secretaries of state and elections commissions, and the legislators basically stayed out of it. Well, no more. States like Pennsylvania, Texas, South Carolina, Georgia, they are all implementing very strict guidelines and protocols to clarify and streamline any gray areas in their respective constitutions regarding how elections are to be conducted, such as that the state legislatures have restored their constitutionally mandated oversight regarding elections. And so it's really, really fascinating because the leftists, like, at the New York Times and stuff, they believe this measure alone will allow state legislatures to determine the election winners, regardless of the actual vote and the will of the people. In other words, leftists are panicked that the 30 Republican legislatures that dominate our electoral map are going to step in and basically nitpick the legality of the vote until their candidates win every single election. That's what they're so panicked over. Moreover, you've got states like Florida creating a fully staffed statewide law enforcement office whose sole job is to enforce election law and crack down on any and all election crimes. So Republican states like Florida are actually setting up an election police force. Again, you just have to understand how much this is freaking the left out. They just can't believe how bold red states are getting here in the aftermath of November 3rd. And it gets worse. It gets worse for the left. Check this out. Look at this. These are hundreds upon hundreds of new precinct committeemen just in Maricopa County, Arizona alone. These are hundreds of new Republican precinct committeemen who will be overseeing the integrity of elections at every single poll in Maricopa County. What's going on here is we're seeing nothing less than a mass proliferation of patriots taking over local GOP precinct levels. This is in no small part to Steve Bannon's precinct strategy, which involves patriots across the nation signing up as precinct officers to oversee elections. And since Bannon's campaign, since his announcement of this strategy, upwards of nearly 10,000 patriots have signed up and taken over GOP precincts, all but guaranteeing that the next elections are going to be governed at the grassroots level, at the level of the local precinct by MAGA-loving patriots. This is absolutely huge. And again, the left is just so panicked over this. They're panicked that patriots have effectively infiltrated. That's their word, keep in mind. Patriots have infiltrated the American electoral system so as to secure election integrity. And the left is just, they're horrified. As they should be, because this is exactly what happened in Virginia a few months back with Glenn Youngkin. According to the Washington Post, poll watchers throughout Virginia outnumbered Democrats 2-1 Republican. 2-1 Republican. We've never seen anything like that before. Many of these precinct committeemen were trained and organized by the Youngkin campaign and were inspired again by Steve Bannon's push to flood the precincts throughout the nation with patriot poll watchers. So election integrity really is happening at both the legislative and grassroots level. And thus far, the Democrats, frankly, they've been powerless to stop it. So obviously, we'll be keeping our eyes on how things develop here, but there's no question that the 2022 year has just begun, and so has the battle to restore the integrity of our elections. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video on woke teachers getting fired all across the nation. It's going to absolutely make your day. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.